supertalk.fm. Also streaming from that SuperTalk Mississippi app and your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station. But you can watch us too. We are on your computer, your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. Now, if you have a fur baby that requires some grooming, you know that they're not all created equal and they need to be trained properly. Joining us today is Chandler. He's with Tino's Pet Grooming, and they opened a first-of-its-kind dog grooming apprenticeship program through the U.S. Department of Labor, which I think is pretty cool. And he's here to tell us some more. So welcome, Chandler.
Hey, thanks, Rebecca.
Okay, this is neat. When it came across, I was like, well, you know, I've got plenty of friends who value their groomers. It's a part of their, you know, weekly or monthly kind of living. Becomes kind of an extension, kind of like my hairdresser is for me. It is for their pets. But I never really gave much thought about maybe how they get their skills or what kind of skills it takes to be a good one. Because, you know, like any hairdresser, I guess there's good ones and bad ones. But apparently it takes a lot. So first, let's talk about how did you get into pet grooming in terms of opening your small businesses here in Mississippi?
Well, so it's actually kind of funny because my best friend Wayne is my business partner, and he's the groomer of the two of us, and I'm kind of the behind-the-scenes person. And I didn't know very much about grooming before we started this business, and I always joke and say it took years for me to talk him into doing it because I just felt, I was like, you know, you can do better, Wayne. You can, you know, build a better place. Or I even tried to talk him into going mobile. And then a few years later, I was like, let's just do it together. Let's make something good that's, you know, the first thing that people think of besides, you know, the big name brands. And really just try to elevate and set the bar and the standard for, you know, providing the same type of care that we would as pet lovers provide.
Right. Yeah.
You know, provide the same care for, you know, other people's dogs that we do our own. So in April of 2022, we were actually on a trip in Chattanooga, and we finally just both agreed to it. We formed our LLC right there, and that September we opened our first Brandon location, and within that same year we opened the Gluckstadt location. So I want to say that was June the following year. So it's kind of all or nothing with me. We just went straight in for it.
Well, apparently people responded for you to be able to open a second location. Okay, so Tino's, is that one of y'all's pets? Where did Tino come from?
So Tino is Wayne's dog. He is a mini Australian Shepherd. You would be so surprised to know how many times we answer the phone and they're like, is this Tino? And we're like, no, Tino's he's our pup. He's our mascot. I have 3 dogs, so Wayne only had 1, so, you know, couldn't be Brenda, Hamilton, and tacos.
Yeah, I like the name Tino. So when you first launched there in Brandon, did you, with him being the groomer, was the response pretty good? I mean, do people, because when you think about it, if you don't have a pet that requires grooming, you think, how is there a big need for that? But there's a big need. There's lots of folks who are looking for this service.
Yeah, there are. I mean, the pet service industry is only getting bigger because we're seeing a lot of people that are just like me, just like Wayne. You know, their children are their pets. We treat our pets, you know, like children. And, you know, a lot of even, I would say, empty nesters are doing the same thing. You know, they kind of see their kids off to college and then they get a puppy. So we're seeing just lots of people, you know, taking in these little fur babies and treating them like the little precious babies they should be. And, you know, there's just a growing demand and there's not enough groomers because it's such a niche, you know, trade to learn. And the ways that, you know, of which people learn to do that are just few and far between unless you go to, you know, somewhere like Petco or PetSmart, you know, one of the big names where they actually have a curriculum and they'll put you through a training program. But then you have to go, you know, corporate, and everybody's like, corporate. So we decided that we wanted to, as we built out, you know, the whole framework of what Tino's was going to be, we knew that we wanted to grow, and we knew that we would have to have a component to train people. And, you know, I wanted to make sure that I not only was thinking of we're training people to be the next generation of groomers, but I wanted them to have something that they could kind of like, you know, solidify that with, like, they get the training from us, which is, you know, typically how groomers learn is like Wayne learned from his mom. So usually it's another groomer teaching another, you know, groomer.
So already
an
apprenticeship, it's not just like an official one.
Yeah. So we just took it a step further to make sure that, you know, it was more professional and recognized. That was the most important thing for me. And, you know, obviously to make sure that we're, you know, doing things the way that we're supposed to. And we got with a Mississippi Apprenticeship program. When I reached out to the Department of Labor, they connected me with them, and we've been working with them for several months. Miss Angela Berry helped us tremendously get this thing off the ground, and now we're doing it.
This isn't just one-of-a-kind pet grooming apprenticeship here in Mississippi. This is like one-of-a-kind in the nation. So, like, no offense, Chandler, but has nobody else thought of this before?
That's what I was saying. I said the same thing.
Other than you mentioned, like, your large box, but that was self-serving because they're going to come in, you're going to do the training, and then you're going to turn around and work for them, which makes sense.
Right.
Or you're a little bit different. You're coming in and doing the training. You probably hope that they'll stay and work if the work's there, but also giving them the ability to go out and maybe be small business owners themselves. And that wasn't done anywhere. You can go to barbershop school, like you couldn't go to pet grooming school somewhere else.
They have plenty of pet grooming places that you can do online. Like we have a supplemental course with the PDGA, but there's like Paragon Pet. There's so many places that you can do online. There's online everything now.
Right.
But when I was speaking with the people at the Department of Labor, they couldn't find any coursework on the state or federal level that matched, the dog grooming program that I was pitching to them. So I think they had to use like the next, the closest, complimentary service was a horseshoer. Somehow, I was like, this can't be right, but maybe it is. Yeah, it is.
Good hair, good shoes.
Yeah, good shoes. So yeah, that was my understanding, and I was like, Mississippi this is going to be great for our people down here because it's really giving people the opportunity to, just try to learn a new skill because, people are, graduating high school and, if they're like me, they came out and they did things backwards a little bit. I didn't go get my degree until, 5 years after I was supposed to. But, just giving them the chance to kind of, do something different, try it out and see if you can build a career out of it, or if you want to use it as a stepping stone to go somewhere else. There are so many life lessons that you will learn in this business that you could take with you anywhere in any type of business.
You mentioned those graduating, but I would think too, if you're just kind of midlife, or you are kind of one that maybe found themselves looking for like a second job or something I'm not going to say a hobby because I know there's a lot of work into it, but like something else, it feels like if you've ever had that pull, this would fit too, or does it have to be younger, 18-year-old in terms of the requirements for the
really
apprenticeship?
Be anyone. We're just thinking of, we've kind of figured that,
but y'all seen it from the business side. It can be a
lot of people that are in it now have been in it for years. We've got groomers. Wayne's been doing it for 15 years. We have another groomer who joined us at our Gluckstadt location, Alex. He's been doing it for almost 20 years. We've got just people with all varying, we've got 3-year people to the 20-year people, and they're all different ages. So it's not just for one specific age group, but we really, with working with the Mississippi Apprenticeship program, we know that they're pitching it to, the community colleges and things like that. They're going to help us market it in that way. So we're anticipating, the younger generation to kind of come in and see if they want to, try this out. But it's really for anybody.
I mentioned like sort of the hair part, like in terms of vanity, but there's also like the health part. Like there are dogs that require like good grooming for them to stay healthy and whole, right? It is, yes, you want the cute little bow, and yes, it makes them feel better. But there's like the health component too for certain breeds where if you don't take care of them appropriately with their hair and all the things, then bad things can happen, right?
Oh yeah, especially with we are doodle centrics down here, probably across the entire United States.
Really, Mississippi is the most doodle heavy.
I think that we just have a lot of doodles in general, but we see so many doodles between both locations that that breed just kind of popped up and it just took over. They're so cute, and everybody loves poodles. But
so what's a doodle?
High maintenance.
How is a doodle different than a poodle?
So it's just different.
The same.
Look, I tell my receptionist, I'm like, anything with a double O in it, it's a doodle. We kind of use it synonymously, but you've got Bernedoodles, you've got, you could literally, I've heard so
Little
many different
doodles,
ones.
Big doodles. All the doodles.
They're just standard poodles to pretty much any doodle is like anything that's mixed with a poodle. And then
their hair grows pretty fast, though, doesn't it?
It grows fast. It grows curly. You've got to brush it out. You've probably got to brush its hair more than you brush your own. They probably say about every other day, at least for the people that don't want their dog to be matted. And so that's kind of,
so you also get to know your customers.
Oh, yeah. We wouldn't be where we are without getting to know them. And we've taken, things that they've said with, at Gluckstadt, for example, we did boarding and daycare out there immediately from the get-go because people in Brandon were saying, are y'all going to do boarding or are y'all going to do daycare? And we just didn't have the space for it. And to be honest with you, we didn't really even think about that segment, and people wanted it. So we opened it immediately at Glucksat, and at the end of last year when the unit next to us opened, we took over the unit, and now we do boarding and daycare over there.
And y'all are going to start your apprenticeship program. We'll talk about that more with Chandler. Don't forget, you can watch us too. We are on your computer, your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. We're continuing our conversation with Chandler. He's with Tino's Pet Grooming. They're opening the first of its kind dog grooming apprenticeship program. And it's not only the first of its kind here in Mississippi, but it's apparently first in its kind in the nation. I think it's really cool and innovative. And so have we kicked it off yet, Chandler? Has it started up? Is it just getting started? Where are we at in taking like applications and all the things?
I started receiving applications last night. So
when did it go? Did it go live? Was it kind of like?
So we really officially announced it yesterday with 16 WAPT. They came out and did a story on it yesterday morning. So that's kind of when we announced it. But we've already gotten an apprentice at our Brandon location. Her name is Abby. So it's been live, but we've just been kind of waiting to kind of push it all at once. But we are taking applications, and I think we're going to do 2 at each location for now. And then within 6 months, we'll kind of cycle it through.
How long does the apprenticeship take?
So it takes 4,000 hours, which is about 2 years, which is kind of standard among the industry. We actually had an apprentice who's a full-time groomer now with us at our Glucksat location, Caleb. And he's just at his 2 years. So it's about 6 months of learning the bathing part of it. And then, the next year and a half, you're learning the mini groom to full groom. And I mean, he's fully grooming now. And I smile every time I get a call and somebody's requesting to get booked with Caleb. So we've done it successfully one time. Now we're just doing it successfully again, but with, more credibility behind it.
So when they are able to graduate Tino's Pet Grooming Apprenticeship, what kind of like credibility certificate or something can they take to either go work somewhere else or maybe think about that small business dream like you guys did and go not in a competing area, but probably somewhere else and start their own business if they wanted to?
Well, look, I'm down for some healthy competition. To be quite honest with you, there's so many dogs and there's not enough of us and we need help. So, but they can, so when they graduate out of this program, it is now a registered occupation with the Department of Labor. So they will be a certified dog groomer on the state and federal level. And it's the equivalent to, it's my understanding is equivalency is a 2-year degree. So an associate's, but.
Do they have to keep, or do you guys have to keep, continuing education? Is it one of those things? Is there like a licensure involved with it, or is it more of just that what like people, the consumer should look for this as kind of like seal of approval that they know how to handle sharp objects around their fur babies?
I think that is a great question, and yes, I think the more credentials that you can put behind your position, the better, especially in this industry. But unfortunately, there's not any type of certification in the state of Mississippi, and in most states, nobody is requiring anything. It's not like cosmetology school, and I'm like, how are people able to do this? And it hasn't been regulated ever. And I think that it will be one day.
I was going to say, with it growing in popularity, you think it'll be going that way?
Absolutely, and that is part of the reason why I want to get ahead of it, because I feel like if we can lead the charge and stay ahead of it and keep setting the bar and raising it, that's where we're going to succeed and grow. And we want people to trust in us, and when they see the Tino's name, that they're going to know that that's what we do. And
Chandler, when people think like, oh gosh, 2 years to bathe a dog or to, trim some hair or whatnot, like obviously they're not owners of pets that need grooming because you don't have to convince them. But why 2 years? What is it about? Is it safety? Is it for the health of the dog? Like, what are we learning in terms of at the apprenticeship?
So you're going to learn everything. This is, what I told Caleb in the beginning was that you need to learn how to do every single thing in this facility to be a groomer. So that starts with, from laundry to checking in clients, discussing, coat types, everything that is involved in running a shop is something that our groomers they need to know, and that's something that they will learn.
So it's also like
us.
a little bit of a business
Absolutely.
Apprenticeship. Yeah.
There's a huge business component behind it, building rapport with your clients, communication skills, talking about skin types, what breeds are sensitive to XYZ, some breeds they need this, bulldogs are sensitive skin, or you've got boxers that really need a good de-shed every now and then.
I feel attacked.
I had to throw that in there. I'm trying to win you over.
Oh well, you don't have to convince me. I can just look at my floor. But yeah, I didn't know that was a service that was available. And I think too, I think some folks don't recognize those services that are available at their local groomers. But if they're looking for credible, I know obviously now not everyone's going to have this apprenticeship or the certificate hanging up because it's just getting started. You guys clearly have a good rapport or reputation. What can people look for in other areas of the state, like if they're going in for grooming, for red flags, or for if they're wanting to get someone who is going to do a good job?
Would definitely look at the facility, and you can instantly walk in and determine, if it's not clean, not a good sign, huge red flag to me. And I had to get to an understanding that everything is not going to be perfect all the time, but at a minimum, our facility is going to be, we have a standard level of clean, sanitization. You're not walking in and there's, hair all over the floor, and I don't want it to smell like a place where pets are. So we have a scent system even. We try to think about everything so that people kind of come in and they have this whole different feeling when they walk in. And so when you pay attention to the small details, and just know, look out for the little things that actually are lots of effort on, the business owner, the groomer, wherever you go, if you can tell that they're doing the small things, then they're doing the big things well too. And that's what I look for when I go into places. I just, we looked at other grooming shops, and I was like, well, first of all, I want it to feel like when you walk in here, you don't smell like you're in a pet place, and it doesn't look like it. So that's what we've done, and that's what I look out for.
You also clip toenails.
We do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may really win me over.
We do. Look.
Hey, clipping toenails.
I even clip. So, and I didn't start out as I'm not a groomer by any means, but I know I can bathe a dog now, and I can groom, I can bathe a dog and I can grind some nails. Now, that's what I do with mine. Like, once I learned that skill, I was like, man, this is just great. It's a great life skill when I have 3 dogs.
Yeah.
And I got to get their nails cut.
If someone's interested in that apprenticeship, how do they apply? Or I know you said 6 months now, but where can people kind of go to keep updated with that? And you said the 4,000 hours, are they working for? Is it a paid apprenticeship, or is it like they're doing it while doing other things? Yeah, no, it's an earn while you learn. So it is a full-time, we pay progressively over the course. So you start at our entry-level wage, and then once you hit that 6-month mark, or you demonstrate the proficiency that we need, to essentially bathe dogs. If you can bathe the dog start to finish, clean the ears, do everything in the bathing process, then you get, your pay raise, and then you kind of move on to what we would call a mini groom, which is the face, feet, and fanny. And so they'll learn how to cut and do all that, and then they'll kind of progress. Once they master that mini groom level, they'll go to the full groom level, and that's where they, really get the skill to finesse the final grooming using the scissors around the face and doing your little teddy bear face that's so cute and everybody loves, and, just that kind of finishing touch. Are we going to see Tinos all over the state of Mississippi? I hope so. We're hoping to get a third one. We're talking about a third one this year, but it may be next year, but we're hoping to get a third one this year. For in terms of 2, do you think this will grow? Like, y'all can take 4. I feel like there's going to be more interest in this, Chandler, than what you guys can keep up. Do you think the community colleges will step in and help with this? Do you think that other grooming places will take on apprentice is the right word. I was like, what's the word for that? Or right now is this y'all's baby? I hope that everybody will get on board with it. I think that there's huge potential for all of us, And when it goes nationwide, it started right here in Mississippi. Exactly. And I was actually living I can't remember if I was living in Memphis or Nashville. I grew up here. I went to Brandon High School, and I left in 2015 and moved to Memphis. And then around 2021, I moved to Nashville. And Tino's brought me back home, and I never thought that I was coming back here. But I believe in this business a lot. I love my team. And I decided it was like, do you either want to be all in Tino's, or are you going to stay in Nashville and do real estate? We got to pick one. And I feel like I made the right choice. And I moved back down here, got a place in Ridgeland, and, kind of in between both stores, and we're doing it. You're doing it. I love, too, that you're looking at giving back and paying it forward and growing and giving other people that opportunity to create a business that they may also enjoy however they want to see it, or at least a different kind of profession. I mean, it's obviously there's a need there and a gap in workers that's needed. And so how cool of y'all to sort of think that through. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
If folks want to connect with you guys, where's the best way to find Tino's?
So we are on Instagram and Facebook at Tino's Pet Grooming, and you can always email Tino at Tino's Pet Grooming, and those come straight to Wayne and I. So, or you can email me directly, Chandler at Tino's Pet Grooming. But our biggest thing is Facebook and Instagram, so that's the best way to get in touch with us.
And then is that also for the apprenticeship if they've got questions about that?
Yes, if they have any questions about the apprenticeship program, I would say just email Tino at Tino's Pet Grooming. That's what's on our application with the apprenticeship program.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, Chandler.
Yeah.
You guys stick with us. We got more for you coming up.